news. Woof. And we stuck the landing. Hey folks, how you doing? It's the Monday Guitar Show. Welcome on board. We're down at the London studio, as you guys can see, filming some new content for our Lick Library members, which means only one thing. More lessons coming your way. We have a whole new course, which is inspired, as many of these courses are, by the streams that we do on Monday nights, which is the thing you're watching right now. So if you're new here or if you're not new here, regardless, I want to welcome you on board. Thank you so much for coming. It's a pleasure. We love doing these things. Love doing these things from down at the studio too, because it's always a solo show when I fly on my own in my, my Newcastle studio. But down here, get to hang out with James, the cameraman. James is off screen. Everybody wish James a happy Monday. Kim is tuning in, not on his phone, but from the sofa over there. So it's a nice little hangout. We've been for some lovely food, and now we're going to talk about improving your improvisation. And of course, that is the subject of the course that we are filming right now. I can't tell you any more about it right now, but it's a good one. I think you guys are going to get a lot out of it. But of course, these streams are really cool because they help us determine what it is that you want to know about. So we love you being here. It really does help guide the things that we're making, which is lovely. And of course, it helps guide these streams too. And it's a fun hang. We like hanging out with you guys, talking about the guitar. And of course, as usual, our objective is to make you, dear viewer, a slightly better guitar player when you leave us than you were when you arrived us. We got to arrive with us. Can't speak. I don't drink, haven't been drinking, but I am full of kebab. So that explains why I'm a little bit slurry right now. It's delicious. Anyway, on with the show. We're going to say some hellos, but before we do, let's talk about our objective today. So today we are discussing why your solos maybe don't sound as musical as potentially they could. And there is a device that we're going to talk about that you can use, and I was using all over that intro jam, that will hopefully improve the musicality of your solos. It's going to be food for thought anyway. So we're going to say some hellos. a few things I want to know from you guys. First of all, if you're new here, I'd love to know where you're tuning in from, and regardless of whether you're new or not, I want to know which guitar you're playing today. I am, of course, playing this guitar. This is my, I guess, my away girlfriend. This is Kim's P245, PRS. Absolutely beautiful semi-hollow thing with a piezo that we don't use, but we use the rest of it, and my goodness, what a beautiful guitar. Anyway, I want to know what guitar you're playing. We'll find out in the comments. We'll say some quick hellos, then we'll get stuck into the meat of the stream, but I've got to say, I'm somewhat perturbed by the amount of bass conversation that's going on in the chat, but that's fine. We all play bass too. We all play bass too. PJ is the first in the house. He's been playing bass and banjo lately, and I have to say it's really helped him with his guitar. Now, this is interesting because we've discussed this on stream before, but part of the mechanism of skill learning and skill development is not so much repeating the same thing over and over again and trying to refine any one like motor engram. I'm sure I'm using that term wrong, but you get the gist. It's about developing skill across a broad variety of closely related tasks. So playing bass, playing uke, mandolin, banjo, bouzouki, whatever, you name it, it all does improve your motor skill on the guitar. It's this whole thing. People talk a lot about the Bruce Lee quote about the fear not the man who's practiced 1,000 kicks, but fear the man who's practiced one kick 1,000 times. It's a very cool quote, but it is contrary to the current evidence on skill learning. Sorry, Bruce. I apologize, but I like your films. Anyway, the ghost of Bruce Lee just kicked something over in the corner of the studio, or it might have been Kim. Who knows? Anyway, Response Audio is in the house. Great to see you. Spent the last few days revisiting Den of Ecstasy. Oh, very cool. What a great rock album. Sounds like Robert Fripp meets Robert Johnson. That's a magical description. Very, very cool indeed. Marcin is here. Great to see you on the stream with us. Larry Warren's tuning in. Foghorn is just here asking about favorite basses. Timothy Appling's in the house. Kate Strange is tuning in. We've got lots of discussions about bass. Evening Hall, and talking of bass, I've started watching Danny Sapko. I friggin' love Danny Sapko, right? Like, just what a nice guy he seems. I've never met him, but he just seems like a real genuine nice guy and a fabulous musician. Like, what a great player. Love a bit of Danny. Anyway, the second best Danny. Our Danny is the best, but even still. Mr. Megafish is tuning in. Good to see you. Who else do we have? Mike Seedorf is in the house. He's playing his Kiesel Andy James. Very cool. Cranker Tom is playing 3-tone Mex Strat. Love a bit of that. Neck and Neck 12's here. Chris Brown's in the house. Good to have you on board. Who else do we have? Jada Barter is here. Our friend Frank is tuning in. Steve Louth, we discovered last week. Louth is in South. Is playing his JP15. Very cool. Purple Nebula. Great finish. Timothy Appling's playing a Gibson SG in wine red. Got some lovely guitars. Very, very nice indeed. Mal Riley's in the house. Got a Schecter again. Love a bit of that. Blind Man Gary's tuning in. Nice to have you on board. Now, Mal Riley with a great comment. Okay, first of all, I will take this as a huge compliment. Thank you. I don't know if it was intended as such, but Mal Riley was asking, is this an improvisation or is this a performance? That was indeed an improvisation. Now, that could not be a more perfect comment for what we're talking about today, because this is the whole point, is we want to talk to you guys about how to take your improvisations and make them more like something where people might go, did you write that? Or did you just improvise that? We're going to get to that. So thanks, man. You've helped me make my point today. I really appreciate that, and we appreciate you being here. Dylan Jessup's here. Catmandu 1962 is in, playing an American Pro 2 Strat. Very cool. They will say Blitzco is here. Great to see you. My friend Nick Harrison's tuning in. My friend Ben. Ben's in. I haven't seen Ben in forever. We need a curry. Ben is the bass player in Blitzkrieg. Fabulous musician. Great dude. Of musicality, a kilter being. We can't read that out. That's why he plays bass. Well, you're in good company here, Ben, because we're all talking about bass today. But I can't read that comment out. But it's very funny. My friend Craig's here. Who else do we have? A new commenter, I believe. For me, at least. This is Kiala Naiko. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. I know your channel is very young and it's very nostalgic to see. Very cool. I like that. I've got a new superhero name. Love a bit of that. Very cool. I'm just going to make sure I haven't missed anyone because I really want to get into this. My friend Rob's tuning in. Go and check out Mad Monday. Right, that's Rob's band. I'll say this every week. Go and check him out. Great band, doing great things. Who else do we have? I think we said hello to everyone. Steve McDee's tuning in, playing his tally. Great to see you. I haven't seen him here in a while, Steve. It's lovely to see you. So anyway, let's get on to the subject at hand, which is why your your improvisations maybe don't sound as musical as perhaps they could. So, first thing we need to revisit is something that we discussed a few weeks ago on stream, which is a mindset shift. Now, I'm not just going to leave you with this airy-fairy mindset thing today. We're going to give you some tools specifically for improving this. But the mindset shift we're talking about is recognizing when an improvisation is an improvisation and when it is not. So I use these terms very deliberately. And when I use the term improvisation, what I'm referring to is a subset of free play on the guitar. Free play, in my little personal language, is anything that is not premeditated. So anything that's not a piece that you've learned, or a riff that you've written, or a song that you've been working on, or whatever, or a lick that you've put together, anything that is not premeditated, we could call free play, or spontaneous play, whatever you might call that. Now, this subsets into a few things for me, and one of those subsets is noodling, which is just letting your fingers do whatever they want. But improvisation is a term I use very specifically, and very specifically I use it to mean the process of creating music spontaneously in the moment. The important part here is the creating music. When we think about an improvisation, it is literally improvised music. That is the whole point. It's let me compose something for you on the spot. This is what improvisation is. And I also happen to be a big improvisation fan, right? I love players who can improvise. I like players who need some prep time, like Batman. I think that's cool, but I think there's nothing greater, in my opinion, and this is just my opinion, than a player who can speak something beautiful into reality live in front of you, because it just flows out of them. It's a wonderful thing, and I want this for you. I want this for me too. I'm working on it. I work on it all the time, but I want this for you. So, improvising music is what we're talking about. It's not the same as noodling. Let me show you some examples, by the way. Just a very quick recap. We've got a whole stream on this. It's also not the same as practicing, by the way, or practicing cool licks. That's something else. But very quickly, a noodle might resemble, I've turned the backtrack all the way down, a noodle might resemble something like this, where we just let our fingers run. It's fine, it can even be cool, you know, you can even get some cool results from a noodle, but there isn't a musical outcome behind that, and there isn't a musical outcome. I'm not targeting my attention on a musical outcome. I'm not trying to compose something for you there. When we improvise, like I did in the intro jam, the goal there was to create something that could conceivably be a little mini guitar instrumental, but I'm just composing it for you in real time. Now, a big part of this is to actually spend time composing. If you write stuff, surprise, surprise, you'll be better at writing stuff quickly, because that's what improvising is. It's writing stuff on the spot. But we can help you with this. We can help you with this. Now, last week we talked about rhythm. We talked about rhythmic command and being aware of your subdivisions. If you haven't checked that out, you can go and check it out on the Lick Library YouTube channel or the Guitar Interactive YouTube channel, wherever you happen to be watching. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up and a subscribe. Doing all the YouTube things. But today we're going to talk about something a bit more melodic driven, and specifically, we're going to discuss motivic development. Big topic. Big topic. Now, first of all, what is a motif and how do we develop one? A motif is a recognizable musical device. It's a little piece of music that you can pick up and go, ah, that's cool, right? Let's take a look at some examples of motifs. Perhaps the most, I'm going to butcher this, I'm sure, but perhaps the most obvious motif to me is Parisian Walkways, which is as motivic as guitar playing gets, which is this motif. Now that in itself is a motif that we develop, or rather Gary Moore developed, and we can develop it in a variety of ways. I'm going to explore several of them with you today, but you might think about this as a motif as a little contour. It's something you could sing, it's something you could immediately recognize. If I was soloing away and I played that little bit of Parisian Walkways, you'd know exactly what it was. You'd go, ooh, that's that. if I played this lick from Arm the One, you might not recognize it immediately. It's Van Halen's song. You might not immediately clock that and go, oh, that's the lick from I'm the One. You may, a listener may not. So if I'm playing away and I'm going, yeah, it doesn't really stick out because it's not really a motif. But if I'm playing this, even though I hit some of the notes wrong, you would recognize that immediately and go, ooh, that's a strong musical device. Another one that we often use is the motif in the final countdown, for example, which is a fast motif. Motifs don't have to be slow. It can be this, that I'm probably going to butcher again, but even still, we'll have a go. That's a motif. Right? That is an arpeggio motif. So it's not necessarily the same as a melody. It's a little part, like motifs can go together to create a melody, and melodies can be motivic, but they don't have to be. A motif is just a small, little bite-sized, recognizable chunk of music. And we can talk about creating and developing motifs, which is what we're going to do as we go on with this stream. But let's take a look at how, for example, we've got some great comments here. Half a Teacher. Yes, so Half a Teacher is motivic. The intro is a motif. It's this. Motif. In a way that the solo from I'm the One, for example, is not. Or that little lick from I'm the One is not. You can't play the line anymore since you've had your haircut. I'm growing my hair. How dare you? How dare you? Anyway, the hair's coming back. Don't worry. Right, I vacillate on the hair. Sometimes it goes really long and then I get sick and then I regret cutting it. That's normally how it goes. Anyway, so let's take a look at how we might develop some motifs in our own playing. And we're going to start with a very simple motif. A very, very, very simple motif. Can I play some slower licks so we can keep up? Yes, don't worry. It's not all going to be fast stuff, I promise, right? Don't you worry. It will be slower licks, I promise. So the backing track we're playing over today is in B minor. And you can play B natural minor over most of it. You can definitely play B minor pentatonic over the whole thing. And let's find a motif that we can use, a musical development that we can use, that we can build upon. We were talking about Parisian Walkways a second ago. Parisian Walkways is not just this. It's the same thing, but down a bit. And we go. With a little variation. And so on and so forth. So this is a great example of motivic development because what it illustrates is this idea that you can take a single musical shape, a musical Tetris block, and place it in all sorts of different ways and develop it in all sorts of different ways to make something very, very interesting. Now, let me show you one more of this, and then I will we'll move on to something that you can play. But let's take one of the very simplest motifs that probably one of the greatest motifs in guitar soloing history, which is the motif that begins the solo for All Right Now. It's 2 notes, and it's this. We go. And around it goes, and then he goes. I mean, come on, right? First of all, like, who but Kossoff is ballsy enough to play a solo that is that sparse? Brilliance is what it is. Genius. But it's a motif. Great example of a motif because we can recognize it as this 2-note figure that goes low, low, high, 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 low. Low, low, high, 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 low. Move it somewhere else. Low, low, high, 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 low. And so on and so forth. It's a beautiful motif, and we're going to create one that is all of our own. In the key of B minor, we're going to take this as a little motif. So I'm going to play in B minor pentatonic, and I'm going to play the following. We're going to start on the 9th fret on the D string, which is the root notes. We'll go to the 7th fret, then we'll go to the root note once again on the 9th fret. So it's root note, flat 7, root note. And we'll get this. Could not be simpler. It is our own little version of All Right Now. Couple of notes, and we're going to go. Let's play it together. Super simple. One more time. Here we go. Now, yes, we probably should have hit the raised 7 there for the chord, but who cares? We're not worried about that. Let's talk about developing this motif. So we have our motif. You could sing it in your head, I'm sure. It is ba ba ba. We are now going to move this, and we're going to move it throughout our scale, and all we're going to change is the values of the individual notes. Rhythmically and in terms of contour, it's going to stay exactly the same, which will be ba ba ba, and it will go high, low, high. 2 notes, a high note, a low note, we're going to change what they are. Now, let's play with this, and I'll show you how powerfully melodic this device can be. Same thing, starting on the same track, we're going to go like this. Here we go. Are you ready? I'll go. Let's head there a little bit, but let's keep going. I'm going to go. I mean, I won't lie to you. If I was producing your band, if I was in the engineer's chair and you played that for the solo, I'd be like, round of applause. Round of applause. Well done. You've played something that everyone, when they hear that on rock radio, is going to sing back to you. Beautiful. Wonderful. Now, you could probably argue, yay, that's maybe a little bit repetitive, a little bit dull. Some of the best solos, repetitive and dull. I always talk about the solo from Run to You. It's a beautiful example of this. Bryan Adams' song. Keith Scott, first of all, the best behaved guitar player in rock. And he played this for the solo. And what did he do in the second pass? Played it again. Dum, 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 ba. Dum, 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 ba. Admittedly with a harmony the second time, but even still, ba, 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 ba. I mean, come on. Tremendous, right? Tremendous. So musical. Would that solo have been better if, well, there's 2 of me. There we go, that's better. Would that solo have been better if Keith Scott had decided to rip in between those notes? Depends who you're asking. It certainly wouldn't have been a bigger hit for it, let me tell you. And that's not what we're talking about, right? That's not what we're talking about, that. Block 18 saying, surely Keith Scott was thinking of Beck's Bolero when he played that. Absolutely. Another great example, though. It's another fabulous example. When you start to think about this, and you start to think about great guitar instrumentals, you hear these motivic ideas all over the place. Things like Always With Me, Always With You, For the Love of God. It's a fantastic example. Electric Gypsy. These beautiful, beautiful guitar instrumentals, all motivic. So we're going to talk about developing this stuff, and you're going to have a go at this now. So now that we've done this high, low, high thing, this is an example of using pitch to develop motifs. We keep the contour the same. So we keep the shape of our playing the same. In this case, we have a super simple motif, but all we do is we go, cool, let me just put that in other notes. Now what this requires of you is it requires you to listen and hear in your own playing when you've stumbled upon a motif. And usually it can be the first thing you've played. If you're listening and paying attention and you go, ooh, what was that? Try and repeat it. Try and do something fun with it. So let's go digging. I'm going to do some motivic development. I'm going to encourage you to do the same. So grab your guitars. I'm going to play the same motif in the same key. It's B minor if you've just tuned in. I'm going to play this. It'll be, I will go. you take a turn. So any combination, just high and low, that's all we're playing. Motivic developments. This is the whole thing, the whole deal. We'll talk about variation in a second. Now the next thing I'll do is I'm going to start to introduce some broader intervals, and I may change it from the same high-low to different notes in the high-low. Maybe like this, where I'll go. Snuck it in on the end there. Did you catch that? You take a turn, right? You take a turn. This is what we're talking about. This is creating music. We're composing something on the spot. You even get the good bit of the backing track. Here we go. For everyone who's just tuning in, this is your turn to play, by the way. I'm not just going to sit here for the whole stream. Beautiful, beautiful. Now, that is a delightful way to develop music in your playing. But that's not all there is to it. So we can also develop and call back to multiple motifs in our soloing. You don't just have to have one motif all the way through. You can have many motifs, right? Many motifs, and you can flip between them. But also, the purpose of improvising is not to begin with the motif. You don't begin with the motif in mind. You play something and you recognize that it's a motif. You hear something and go, that was cool. If you're listening and you're paying attention to your playing, you should at least be able to identify a contour, at least a shape that you could identify as highs and lows, if that makes sense. So let me try and play something off the cuff for you. So this will be improvised, and the first thing I play, I'll turn into a motif. So it might be this. Let's come up with something. So I go. Oh, it was a good one. Okay, I'm happy about that. I was a bit nervous, to be honest. So what was that? That's two low notes. And we scoot way up and then go down. So the shape is kind of like this as you read it from this side to this side. That kind of shape. And there's a melody to it. So here I'll just take any combination of notes that are in my scale. I won't always get them. That was a bad choice, but it's okay. I'll recognize that. Maybe I should have gone here. Ooh, that's a good one. I like that. What was that? Maybe I'll go. Talk about that development in a second. And I'll call it back here. Oh, if I hadn't muted the note, that would have been so cool. Then again. We're making music here, kids. Now, even though there was some guitar fireworks in there, that was on purpose. That was for me to demonstrate to you that your solo does not have to be composed entirely of motif to be musical. There is room to get some cool flourishes and cool, like, flashes of guitar-y fun in amongst all of these motifs, right? PJ is saying, always with me, always with you, for sure, 100%, right? What a great example of motif. Now, here what we can continue to do is we can look at some other ways of developing motif. So, some ways that we can look at it immediately is to take the contour and maybe just keep the rhythm. So we could take this bo-do-do-do, and then we can keep that rhythm and flip it on its head. It doesn't have to be exact, but we could just invert the melody or do something similar, which might be like this, where I take this. That was cool, it's a good guess. Let's try it again, where I might go. Now, it doesn't have to be a perfect inversion, it doesn't matter. But here what I'm doing is I'm keeping that rhythmic motif, this ba-ba-ba-ba, ba-ba-ba-ba, and we can invert it. Actually, you know what, there's a great comment here I want to highlight from my friend Diego, saying, is Beethoven's ninth, it's an example of a motif? For sure. Beethoven's fifth is a great example of motif. I mean, come on. Ba-ba-ba-ba, ba-ba-ba-ba. It's all motif, right? And it's like, oh my god, yeah, that's tremendous. Those big stabs at the end. Ah, jeez. I mean, tremendous. What a great motif. Love that. Absolutely fantastic. So this is kind of what we're talking about, but we can do motif with inversion. We can also do motif with register, which is a fun thing. So you can take an example of something. Oh, I'm trying to think of a really good example of this from a guitar-y perspective. They're out there, but Always With You comes out, actually. PJ was talking about that before. So we've got this. You ever notice that this is also, it's the same notes, but the rhythm is the variation. But then we get this. Which is the same thing up the octave. So we can create variation through register. Going back to the All Right Now solo, we've got this. Kossoff, king of the motif, right? King of the motif. Quite a simplistic player. I didn't get Kossoff when I was a kid. I won't lie to you. When I was a young questing guitar player. Still am a questing guitar player, but I ain't young anymore. I didn't get it. Anyway, but yeah, now 100% get it. So that's something. But yeah, we got some discussions about Morse code and the timeline of Morse code. Apparently Beethoven was composing in Morse code. We know that Rush composed in Morse code, that is for sure. So anyway, other ideas of motivic development is to extend what happens in and around the phrase. So I found this cool, right? I found this really cool little Batman sounding phrase that I really like. Now, I like that so much that I decided I wanted to repeat it. So what I can do here is I can take parts of this phrase and I can either keep all of it and put something at the end, keep all of it and put something at the start, or I can keep most of it and change the beginning or the end of it. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So let's play that phrase as my little motif. This ba-da-da-da, where I go, play it again here. Did you catch that little thing in the middle? Let's go again. So there, another example of musical soloing, right? Trying to compose something and taking on a little bit of a musical journey. I'm taking this same motif, this ba-ba-ba-ba, and developing it by adding things or changing things. Specifically, I'm abandoning the contour, but not enough of the contour that you don't recognize it. So good examples of this are things like the solos from Sweet Child of Mine, right? So We're breaking a lot of, I hope we're not getting copyright struck for this, but I don't think I'm playing any of this stuff convincingly enough for it to be copyright struck. It happened with Eruption one time, and that was Korea made, let me tell you. So I had a dare, I'm not going to try and repeat this feat, but I had a dare off Marcin on one of the older streams way back in the day to play Eruption, and I played it, and we got a copyright strike for Eruption. I'm like, oh my god, yeah, that's... The machines think I got it pretty accurately, so I'm into that. Anyway, so let's talk about these solos. So these solos have a motif built into them. It's this. That is a motivic development. What do we do? Well, we kept this. Motifs, right? Motifs. So this is an example of what I'm talking about, where we take something that already exists and we see how much of it we want to keep, and then we jump off the motif, if that makes sense. We're going to experiment with that now. It wasn't Marcin who started the Eruption Challenge. I was convinced it was you, Marcin, but it may be somebody else. It might be Sacred Godslayer or someone. It's one of the OGs, that is for sure, right? One of the original community, that is for sure. Back when we had another channel name. Unbelievable. So, let's talk about some of this stuff. So, I'm going to find yet another motif, and then I'm going to start to vary that motif. Once again, we're in B minor if you're just tuning in, you want to play along. So let's go reaching and see what we come up with. Oh, another good one. Okay, that's cool. That's fun. See what we did there? Come back to that. That's a fun motif. Stealing someone else's motif here. So, it's a lot of stuff, but I was enjoying that, and I thought we'd keep going with it. So, this is I guess a conclusion on this. So, when I was saying there, did you see what we did there? This is kind of the culmination of this stuff, is finding and developing multiple motifs within a solo. Because a solo doesn't have to be just a single motif. If it's just a single motif, yeah, I guess it is a solo, but you know, it's not really what we necessarily listen for. In a guitar solo, it also starts to beg the question, is it a solo, is it a part? Tough one. We're going back to Run to You for this, the Bryan Adams song. Is it a solo, is it a part? Quite tough to tease those apart. If you've got a good solo, it can start to fall into that part kind of bit. But then All Right Now, is All Right Now a solo or is it a part? Is this, I don't know. Who knows? There's a line here and these start to blur it, which I think is very interesting. But the development of multiple motifs is a fascinating thing, because this is why your solos stop sounding like a worked out individual little motif and start sounding like more of an improvisation, but with this musical quality. So what we can do here is we can take a listen for our cool motifs, and, you know, some of these motifs we developed today might be good candidates for that, or it may be some other things. And you start to intersperse those with some less motivic ideas. And this is where stuff becomes kind of interesting. You notice I was busting out some of the shred chops there because, first of all, this guitar shreds, which is nice. So it's nice to play a guitar that plays really well. So that always helps. But this is what gives us some of the excitement and some of the guitar-y quality here, and it actually takes us to another topic that we've talked about, which is this idea of stability versus instability. So we've talked about note choice in the past being something where we balance the idea of playing stable sounds against unstable sounds. Here what we can do is we can take a stable sound being a motif, being something that we play over and over again, some kind of predictable sound. And we can contrast that against unpredictable sounds, which are lines that are less motivic and that are maybe more like flourishes and fast, flashy bits, or even just lines or like non-motivic melodies, just something that doesn't really have that flow to it. And if we contrast that against our developed motifs, and we take several motifs that we move between and we develop and then we get rid of as soon as we're bored of them, and we can even call back to if we want to, then we start to get into some interesting stuff. So let's play a little game of Spot the Motif here. I'm going to play some stuff. I'm going to play some motivic ideas. I'm going to play some less motivic ideas. I'm going to show you how you might weave these together into a solo. And then I'm going to give you some opportunities to try this on your own. So grab your guitars if you haven't done so already. It's your turn coming up. So here we go. Let's start fairly motivic. Let's actually start in the right key. That would help. I think I saved it. That's cool. Register. Little callback. New motif. New motif. There's another one. The little head spinny motif there. Let's finish it strong. And a little call back to the original motif for the end. It's an okay improvisation. I'm quite happy with that. That, to me, is an example of improvised music. It's not a song that I've written on the spot, but that is soloing with musical intent, We are listening to what we've played. We're listening to the effect it has on the listener and making real-time decisions about what's cool and what we like and what we want to develop versus things that we maybe want to move away from. Things that were cool, but perhaps we don't necessarily want to live on for that long. And this is kind of it's a music-first approach to improv, but also it should go to show that you don't need to be safe with this stuff. You can take risks, and you can play shred lines, and you can play fast stuff. Fast stuff can even be motivic. If it's the right thing, it doesn't have to be. And we can contrast motivic against non-motivic ideas, and calling back to little motifs in interesting places, that is, again, another important part of this. We're going to take some questions on this, because I'm certain you have several of them, because it's definitely something that I have questions about, but we'll continue to explore. I'll give you some more ideas on this too. But a great one from my friend Chris Brown. He was asking, is the Chris Buck a motif? It can be. It depends how you use it. Depends how you use it. So the Chris Buck, so let me preface this by saying that I cannot play like Chris Buck. Right? Nobody can play like Chris Buck apart from Chris Buck for obvious reasons. So that's like one of those little tautological statements where you go like, well, no one can play but you apart from you. You are a unique individual with a unique musical thumbprint, and no one sounds like you other than you. That is 100% true, but also really no one sounds like Chris Buck. Chris is the man. And if he's watching this, which he's not, because Chris is far too busy doing famous rock star things. He's a lovely guy, just the best, right? Absolute friggin' delight. But he is what a friggin' player. So the Chris Buck, right? I'm gonna find a more appropriate track for the Chris Buck, but I won't do a more appropriate tone. I probably should, but even still, we've got a nice one here. Where's my slow jam in E? Let's see if I can find that real quick. I've got a blues in E, I've got a slow blues in E. I really want one of this like Midnight in Harlem type guys, if I can find it. I have this track somewhere. God, I've got so many. I've got an up-tempo shuffle. I forgot I had that one. It's a blues one. That's quite fun, but that ain't it. Where are you, slow jam? This will be worth it, I promise. I promise. It's in here somewhere. Modern soul ballad, that'll do. This is like the John Mayer style one, but same thing. So the Chris Buck, right, is this. That line. That can be a motif. This. Mal Riley saying, play an Eric Johnson motif. Okay, well, let's do one. Eric Johnson motif over this. Kind of glib, but an Eric Johnson motif might be something like this. There we go. It's lots of fun. So, no, I do like doing an Eric Johnson impression. Lots of kind comments on that. But yeah, that's a good one. Chris Brown is absolutely right. The Chris Buck. It's our version of the lick. So you guys know about the lick, or the dipstick lick. The the dipstick lick, I think, is more of a bass thing, but it's a bit of an in joke. The Chris book, which I think's fantastic. I love that we have these in jokes. But the Chris book, as far as we're concerned, what a way to distill a wonderful artist into like a single little parody. But it's such a good lick. Like, how could you not? But the Chris book is this, where we bend and then we slide up into the next fret, but we don't cross all the way over. That string's a little light. Chris does this better than anyone, right? But it's such a thing, especially this, just that crossing the fret wire. So it absolutely can be a motif. So we can use, I should probably point this out, we can use expression. We can use like extended techniques and expression as part of our motivic development. So this is a great example because, get away from that for a second. But yeah, it's expression as a motif. Sure, we can use that. If we go back to our original track, we could throw the Chris book on that if we wanted to. We're in B minor. Why not? Why not? So let me show you that one more time. So what we're doing is we're taking a note and we're sliding into the next fret, but we're not sliding all the way into the fret. We kind of stop. I use this analogy a little like climbing a fence. So the fret is the fence, and then you stay here. It's like you climb the fence, but you don't go all the way into next door's garden. You just sort of get to the top of the fence and then you stop and you go back into your own garden. But the fence is a fret wire. So you go here. It's a little like a flip that a singer would do with their voice, which I think is where Chris is taking that from. I think, because Chris is very inspired by the old singers. So I'm going to start these up. We've got some other great questions coming in. So I'm going to play this. This is our backing track. Let's find a motivic use for something resembling the Chris book. So we might get this. That's cool. Now, what I will say on this is an interesting observation here that I think is an important one to bear in mind. That was not as effective in improvisation as some of the other improvisations that we were doing today. It was okay, but this is where we start to veer into the realms of exploration rather than improvisation. So we've talked about this before. Noodling is one thing, but another subset of free play is is exploration, which is where we explore the guitar, but our goal is to find new things on the guitar or to experiment with a new technique or a technique we're trying to refine or something to that effect. It's not the same as improvising, because improvising, our goal is music, and all we're focused on is letting the music lead us. Here, we're letting the technique lead us. We're letting the expression lead us. So it may result in the same thing, but I think because I came at this with this idea of, ooh, let me do this thing, it wasn't quite as effective. I always feel like this stuff works best when you play something and you just allow your instincts to take you somewhere, and then you grab that and you go, ooh, let me play that. So a little premeditation can be dangerous with this. I'm not saying it's always bad, and this is just personal. For me, I always feel like I do better at this stuff when there is no premeditation about what I'm going to play. I just discover something and then go with it. But again, your mileage may vary. And a lot of this stuff was developed using these exploration techniques, if that makes sense. So, got some other cool questions. Here's one from Neck and Neck. Tried to find the backing track, Dirty Southern Rock, from last week's stream, but I couldn't find it. Is my backing track title spelling for this correct? Yes, I believe it is. I'm going to have to check and make sure that it is on the Lick Library website. I'm certain that it is. I'm going to ask James to check for this now, actually, and we'll find out. James, if you can quickly, just while we're doing this, check the Lick Library website for a dirty Southern rock backing track. And if we can find it, we'll post it in the comments, and you'll be able to see it. If it's not uploaded yet, then I apologize. It is in the Lick Library database, but we release these tracks in a staged kind of manner. So if it's not, I'll push for it to be uploaded soon, and you'll find it on the Lick Library site sometime this week. If it's not up now, we'll push for that. So yeah, that's a cool one. I like that. So you guys couldn't find it. I'm guessing it just hasn't been published. Mal Riley saying, how would you go about creating a solo for a song? That's an interesting one. So this depends. It's a very cool question, a very good question. I'm going to take an example of a solo that I play for one of my own songs. So this is a solo for a song called Everything's Alright, which is an example of quite a motivic solo. Now, I don't have a backing track for this, so you'll have to run with me. It's got some cool chords, though, let me tell you. So the chords are, bizarrely, broadly speaking, in B major. So we play B major, G major, all parallel majors, E major, then it's F major, G major, A major, back to B. Weird combination of chords. You might voice it like this, which is how I do voice it. Lots of fun. Missed out at the end. Haven't played this song in a while, but I do remember the solo. So the solo goes like this. It's all very motivic. I'll go 2, 3, 4. Let's get this right. Where are you? Of course, it's been a while since I played that solo. Let me tell you, right? But gigs coming soon, I promise. I'll have to brush that up because we're recording that song soon. But the point with this is, that is an example of a solo with some motivic stuff in it, but it's not entirely motivic. Cool little solo. So let's go through the steps. So the first thing I did was establish a motif, which was this. That's a fun little motif. I actually took that from a part in the song. So there's a part in there that goes. So that's a little melody in the chorus, right? Little melody in the chorus. So I took that as our first bit, and then I went trying to keep the motif the same. So that could have been, but instead of playing that, I've already had that. I go. So it's a little callback from the motif, but it's not exactly the same. And then we get up here for a bit of guitar stuff. So that's another motif that's going to come back later. And then we have this repeated. So that ba 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 ba. Now, as I'm writing this, what I'm doing is I'm actually piecing this through together and going, ooh, motif here. Cool, develop the motif, and I'm going, right, what's coming next? I'll get off that. So then I've hit that. All right, okay, that's cool. So now I'll find something that is a little motivic compared to the first one. So I'll go. So that line is very similar to this. But it just has that register motif thing. I'm going, let's go up. And by the time I'm up here, I'm going, well, time for some shred. So why not, right? So that's a little motivic thing, which buys me license to go, which is some pure shredding nonsense. That is a little trick where I played this. So I can make that little jump. So it's a high D in the harmonic, trading off to a high D up here. So it's a register jump. And that line there is the same as this. And then we go. So that is a callback to this. By this point, it's time for a new motif. So I go. Which is two arpeggio motifs. So we've got this. So that's a new motif. Repeat. So now we've got a new rhythmic motif, which is the quite Nuno, I guess. I can't quite nail that harmonic. It is the Eric Johnson harmonic, but it's not my guitar, so I don't know where it is. So we've got that. Ba, 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 ba. So I'm like, well, let's mirror that over the next changes, which will be F, G, A, first inversion, A, B. And I wanted to do some head turning, and I was really into the Eric Johnson triads when I wrote this, so I went, get this right. And that will become another callback, because I'm going to call back to that at the end when I've done all the crazy stuff. So we go, let's get this right. Remember that melody? So that little arpeggio figure there, after all the crazy shred stuff. So we just play basically melodically the same pattern. It's which is how you can get away with like blasting the shred and still have it be musical, because there's motifs and there's callbacks and all that sort of stuff. I do like that solo. Maybe I'll did I record it right away? Said Mal Riley. I recorded a version of it right away, but I actually pieced this together in the studio. So when I was doing a demo for this, rather than trying to remember the whole thing, I would record a bit and go, okay, that's cool. Let me figure out what to do next. And I'd record it and then piece it together. I have a cool recorded version of it, but I think I've got a better take in me. So we'll see. So I didn't record it right away, but then we gigged it for a bunch of years. So I had a chance to refine it even further on stage, which was kind of fun, but it was definitely pieced together in the studio. Anyway, folks, time is against us. We've run out of time. The name of the tune, says Marcin, the name of the song is Everything's All Right, by my band Saints of Arcadia. New music coming next year. Promise. I promise. And of course, the title is sarcasm, because almost nothing is all right. I write very angry music for a very, I I guess not an angry man. I'm anything but an angry man, but I write very angry music. And I wrote this angry music about 10 years ago about things I was angry about in the world, and they're all still true. And I'm going, oh, please stop. Please stop making these songs relevant. Anyway, folks, I gotta say goodbye. I will see you next week. Don't forget, hit the like button and the subscribe on your way out the door. Let's motif one more time over an entirely different backing track. Let's motif over a Black Sabbath shuffle, which is going to be a lot of fun. I will see you guys next week. Here we go, also in B minor if you want to play along.